So, today, this is on a Tuesday and we meet on Zoom. So welcome, great that you made it, that you actually read the email and that you're here. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And we're gonna get started with a poem by Michele. And Michele wrote a poem and she's sharing it with us. So that's going to be the meditation as we use it for the meditation. So now, afterwards, after this meditation, we continue with the face of Christ, with the meeting that we had basically the other days, a little bit later, but now I do it directly after this, since we now already meditate, and that would be like great to continue. So that was the setup for today. Starting with the meditation.
La face du Christ. Des volutes de lumière sans cesse en mouvement. En silence, je t'attends. Une fréquence m'embrasse, instant où l'énergie s'entremêle, jouant, vibrant en frisson. En silence, je t'attends. En communication, en énergie de l'amour divin, mon être s'aligne à la source, équilibre parfait. En silence, je t'attends. Tel un océan de tendresse enlacé de sa grâce, telle une rivière de bonheur abondante, ruisselante, tel un flot de pure conscience cosmique, tourbillonnant, un univers angélique. En silence, je t'attends. D'où je viens, ma descente vers le voyage intérieur. Mon élévation de l'être en expansion se dessine. En silence, tu m'attends. Une onde de lumière inépuisable aux portes du ciel s'ouvre. La face du Christ. Je suis là.
The face of Christ. Swirls of light, constantly in motion. In silence, I wait for you. A frequency embraces me, an instant where energy intertwines, playing, vibrating in chills. In silence, I wait for you. In communication, in the energy of divine love, my being aligns with the source in perfect balance. In silence, I wait for you. Like an ocean of tenderness entwined with His grace. Like a flowing, abundant river of happiness. Like a swirling flow of pure cosmic consciousness, an angelic universe. In silence, I wait for you. Where do I come from? My descent to the inner journey. My elevation of being in expansion is taking shape. In silence, you wait for me. An inexhaustible wave of light at the gates of heaven opens the face of Christ. I am here. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. That's really lovely. Thank you so much. So we continue now with the next part, which is the face of Christ. And today we actually go into the manual for teachers. We didn't do that so far that much in the face of Christ, but as always, like in the Course in Miracles is like an integrated whole idea, and that means that you can take from everywhere something, and it would all tell you the same. It will all revert to the same in that sense. Like that's so great about using it. There's no part that is in denial of another part. There's no conflict in it whatsoever. So using that, I like to start with reading something that is from S for the Rest. So you have in volume 3 of the Course in Miracles, volume 3 is the Manual for Teachers. Now, Manual for Teachers has probably like 29 sections, and section 30 is after you have finished the Manual for Teachers. And you might say like, well, I didn't even start it yet, so maybe that's a bit too early for me to hear that. And then it's like, no, you will recognize that. It is not too early to hear this. And that's why it's so lovely to use it and to see that it's actually true. You can certainly hear what it says. That is not any different than the first lesson in the workbook or the first paragraph in the textbook. And so now, as for the rest, is then a beautiful send-off, you could say, after finishing the Manual for Teachers. It just affirms your part in all of this, and it affirms that the power of God goes with you. Like, that is the power of Christ, that is the power of God, and that is within you. So that is already taken care of. Like that did occur, and it is already yours. And that's why you can read this. It's just like now you know. It comes to your awareness, the recognition that it is part of you can come to you. Otherwise you wouldn't know. So the title is Power of Christ. As for the rest, it's section 30 from the Manual for Teachers, and I use a part of it. It's not the complete section, so I use an excerpt out of it. And here's a Bible reference that comes, and I love it. And that's also part of the first section that I share. And he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Now this comes back in what we're going to read. So he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me." So here that immediately comes back. Remember, you are his completion and his love. Remember, your weakness is his strength. That's what we just read. Remember, your weakness is his strength. Your uncertainty, your invulnerability, your vulnerability, your listening ear, you not knowing is where you can receive the answers. So that's what I love about this. Remember, your weakness is his strength. But do not read this hastily or wrong. If his strength is in you, what you perceive as your weakness is but illusion. And he has given you the means to prove it so. Now, here's a lot of reassurance given to you. So it's time to take a really good look at this. Remember, your weakness is his strength. Like the moments that you think, I can't do this, or I don't know how to do this, or I need help with this, or I don't know how to do this. That's an expression that we encourage in a certain sense, because you admit, like, I of my own self, I can do nothing. But that's not the end of the story. So now what has all power, can work through me, because I literally step aside. I give space for that, to let that happen. If his strength is in you, what you perceive as your weakness is but illusion, and he has given you the means to prove it so. Ask all things of his teacher, and all things are given you. Not in the future, but immediately, now. God does not wait, for waiting implies time, and he is timeless. Forget your foolish images, your sense of frailty, and your fear of harm, your dreams of danger, and selected wrongs. God knows but his Son, and as he was created, so he is. In confidence I place you in his hands, and I give thanks for you that this is so. Now here we go back. Ask all things of his teacher, and all things are given you. Not in the future, but immediately, now. God does not wait, for waiting implies time, and he is timeless, like it's going to be now or it's never going to happen. Forget your foolish images, your sense of frailty, your fear of harm, your dreams of danger and selected wrongs. God knows but his Son, and he was created. As he was created, so he is. In confidence, I place you in his hands, and I give thanks for you that this is so. So you see here, here's a lot. This is really lovely. And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. God turns to you for help to save the world. Teacher of God, his thanks he offers you. And all the world stands silent in the grace you bring from him. You are the Son he loves, and it is given you to be the means through which his voice is heard around the world, to close all things of time, to end the sight of all things visible, and to undo all things that change. So that's like a prayer, or that's like this is like a send out. So this fits to me perfectly in this week, like the week of the, it's like the send of the Holy Spirit in you, like the Pentecost. But Pentecost was actually already a celebration in those days. In the days of Jesus, that when Jesus was here, so to speak, that was already a celebration. Pentecost it was called. And during this Pentecost, this descent of the Holy Spirit happened. And so in this week is then before that. In fact, we prepare ourselves for that occurrence and recognize that is actually taking place. Now here, this is the send out. This is Acts 1, as we could say. Is like if you read Acts 1, Acts from the New Testament. Acts 1 is exactly that. They receive the Holy Spirit, the light within. Suddenly they are stirred. Suddenly there's a wind that literally seems to come into the building that they are, and they can hear it, they can understand each other in a whole new light. That was the occurrence at that point. So here, this is the invitation continuously when we meet. There's the possibility for that. Suddenly you start to hear in different light and literally tap into a new frequency that is giving you everything, like that is giving you to hear everything right. And so the manual for teachers is, in the Course in Miracles, is then a preparation to look at aspects of this opening up within you to what is given, to know where you have to place your trust, or where you can place your trust, and how that is developing. To look at the characteristics of you as the Christ, as the teacher of God, because you're going to represent his voice by allowing that to occur, by being that by the recognition that is your reality. So this is given. What else are you going to share if you recognize this dream to be an illusion? If you see that, then what is left to do? In fact, there's nothing left to do. Now here, then, you are invited to express literally the voice for God. You're its messenger. So you don't determine the message, and you don't have to twist and turn the message. No, it is going to be given to you to express it in your very own individual way, wherever you are, wherever you go. Like, it's not of your business what that looks like. Now this is great. Like, that's great. So we're here on a send-off, you could say. Like, here's the recognition that is taking place, and that you have all the help. The power of Christ is within you. You take that with you wherever you go. You in your recognition of your frailty, like, I cannot do this, I don't know how to do this. You say that and you admit, like, no, I don't know how to do this. So that is in fact nothing but a statement of fact, like, you can't do it, but it's going to be given to you, through you. And that's the part that you can learn to trust and to see at work. And that is in the light that you're experiencing, that is turning to the light in situations that don't seem to, that seem to be different. Not responding with your human response, but taking time to let that occur, to literally let the voice speak to you by you asking for help, recognizing that that is instantaneously given to you, that is occurring in this instant. It has nothing to do with your idea of, oh, that might happen in half an hour, or maybe tomorrow it will happen or so. It's like, no. This is given immediately, and you can totally trust it. And that is something that comes to you. You start to see, step by step, you start to trust that more, by the working of it, just by you see, yes, it does work, and this is how it goes. I don't have to rely on myself in this. I don't have to trust myself in doing this. So my assurance and self-certainty goes beyond my personality. And that's a bit of exercise to get out of the way with your concerns. Like, you have to get out of your own way in order to let this light and love come forward in all the situations and see it at work. And literally, it melts every heart. It does whatever it does. It invites to a connection. It invites to a recognition. And that is so lovely. The recognition that there's only one of us, that there are not separate entities on this surface of the globe. No, that's like just your foolish images will tell you. And now you can respond to the images and think that that is your reality, but that doesn't make it real at all. So from one mistake, you step into the other, trying to correct your images. And here is where you spend a lot of time and energy until you exhaust yourself. So that's the invitation here then, is to come back to this present moment, ask for help, but see that it literally is given to you. Now the power of God is with you, and be at peace. Like, the power of God is with you. You take that with you. And it has nothing to do with the images that you see, but it has to do with you allowing yourself to feel that, in fact, the light and the love of God in yourself. So that makes everything different, because the normal tendency would be to respond to an horizontal relationship of some kind, or an occurrence. And now the only response is in connecting, in recognizing this connection is the only thing that matters. Like, here is my recognition, this is my source, and it has nothing to do with this at all. But I'm here in this recognition and extending myself. Like, I don't have to do anything for that, except recognizing that that's taking place within me. And that does the work, that opens the doors, that heals the blind, that raises the dead. That's exactly what it does. And that can look in very different ways. So that's so lovely to see that at work. And that's why it's like, how are you going to tell this to anyone? Well, this is my way to do that. Or like Michele sharing the poem, that's her way of doing that, exactly in that way. Or you have your way, exactly in your way you express that. Now, just the reliance on that recognition and literally giving it space to let it come into this world, by you allowing that, is everything. That changes everything. So that's all the power in the universe that you're applying. And of course you don't use it for your own gain, but truth. Like, well, if you see yourself as an all-inclusive part of everything, then you do it only for yourself. You give only to yourself. This is a way that we share it too. It's like you can only give to yourself. To give and to receive are one in truth. Now you are going to receive this in your receptance of this light and love. You extend it to your brother. And that's exactly the direction. And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. God turns to you for help to save the world. Teacher of God, his thanks he offers you. And all the world stands silent in the grace you bring from him. You are the son he loves, and it is given you to be the means through which his voice is heard around the world, to close all things of time, to end the sight of all things visible, and to undo all things that change. Now here are some things here, through which his voice is heard, and it is given you to be the means through which his voice is heard around the world, to close all things of time, to end the sight of all things visible, and to undo all things that change. That action is then to allow it to be, in fact, to allow it to be new, not to reinforce it in the old ways, like confirming something that has no reality, or that has as a nature change, or that is ephemeral, or that is so temporal. Like you don't want to confirm that. And this is really slowing things down for yourself in a certain sense. Like it slows down your interaction with the world. And that's something that you discover. It's like you take time. Now let this fall into place. And ask for help, because you don't know how to respond to any of this. Now here we are, letting that rest, letting ourselves become still, instead of trying to fix it, trying to work on it, or trying to search for a solution or anything like that. No, it's like, no, you bring it back to here, to source, to your withinness, to what is occurring right here, right now, within you. And in your vertical connection, you get the confirmation. That is like, thank you, God. Nothing is what it seems. Nothing is something that is screaming for attention. Suddenly doesn't have a voice anymore. But in the same moment, there's a silence that starts to speak and start to fill all space in your consciousness. Now this is how you're going to save the world. So you don't have to go up the barricade. So it's like there's no action or reaction asked, but there's presence asked, and that is so different. Now, talking about development of trust, I always love this section too. So I'm going to pull that up, and that has to do with where do you find yourself in your development of trust. So here that is, and that is the. I'll show it to you in a second. See here in the Manual for Teachers, section 4, what are the characteristics of God's teachers? Now this is interesting. So I'm going to read the introduction too, because it's fun, and you recognize it immediately when you look around. So what are the characteristics of God's teachers? The service traits of God's teachers are not at all alike. They do not look alike to the body's eyes. They come from vastly different backgrounds. Their experiences of the world vary greatly, and their superficial personalities are quite distinct. Nor at the beginning stages of their functioning as teachers of God have they as yet required the deeper characteristics that will establish them as what they are. God gives special gifts to his teachers because they have a special role in his plan for atonement. Their specialness is, of course, only temporary, set in time as a means of leading out of time. These special gifts, born in the holy relationship toward which the teaching-learning situation is geared, become characteristic of all teachers of God who have advanced in their own learning. In this respect, they are all alike. All differences among the sons of God are temporary. Nevertheless, in time, it can be said that the advanced teachers of God have the following characteristics. Now here's the part trust. It's like there are probably 8 or 9 characteristics that are mentioned, like innocence, gentleness. So we might see some more. Generosity, and more and more and more. So this is trust, and that's an interesting part because that's the basis for everything, of course. This is the foundation on which their ability to fulfill their function rests. Perception is the result of learning. In fact, perception is learning, because cause and effect are never separate. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a given world. Now here it starts just about the phases that you're going through. So when this power has once been experienced, what is that power? Well, the power literally of here that you actually are say having an experience of something that goes beyond your world. Light experience, a moment of recognition, a miracle that you experience, or an incredible gratitude coming out of nowhere. When this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? That is what is it that induces them to make the shift? What is it that induces them to make the shift? It's like, how do we do this? How actually is this change taking place within us? First, this is the first step, you could say. They must go through what might be called a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it usually is so experienced. It seems as if things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. How can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? He is not yet at a point at which he can make the shift entirely internally. So the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances, but these changes are always helpful. When the teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the second stage. So I'll leave you right here and play a little song. I'll leave you right here just for a moment to see that, or you can read through it a little bit. So here we go. So you see the last line here, these changes are always helpful. Sometimes it can look like there are changes in the external circumstances. You might have recognized that already. But these changes are always helpful, but they are not always experienced that way. So when the teacher of God has learned that much, that you recognize that the changes that are occurring are actually helpful, you can go to the second stage. Now the next stage the teacher of God must go through is a period of sorting out. This is always somewhat difficult because having learned that he changes in his life, that the changes in his life are always helpful, he must now decide all things on the basis of whether they increase the helpfulness or hamper it. He will find that many, if not most of the things he valued before, will merely hinder his ability to transfer what he has learned to new situations as they arise. Because he has valued what is really valueless, he will not generalize the lesson for fear of loss and sacrifice. It takes great learning to understand that all these things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. It is only to the extent to which they are helpful that any degree of reality could be accorded them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. So that's great. So we got now the first two stages. The first two stages. So one is then the first stage that you enter into a period of undoing. Like, you don't know what's going on. You stepped into this. You see all kinds of changes occurring in your life. You don't even know what to choose, what you think would be helpful to you or anything like that. You're not even busy there. No, you just allow this change to occur and see where it brings you. And actually coming into some sense of trust that this process that is taking place in you is very different, but you trust it. See, and that's just the beginning of that. So the second phase then is a phase of sorting out. You're going to see that the changes that are occurring are always helpful, but you don't have to look for it, or you don't have to do them yourself. No, but you're going to, because you're going to sort out what is helpful, what isn't helpful. And you think with your understanding now that you can do that. And that is in itself it's like a long period of learning because you trust your ideas until you are proven wrong in it. Like you cannot trust your ideas, you still believe they are the best. Or you hold on to them because you don't necessarily want to let them go because you don't even know why you should. Like this. So you look for reasons to hold on to it or to let it go. And this is an interesting stage, of course, because a lot of changes are occurring at that point, but not all of them are helpful at all. So the situations or the changes that are taking place that are helpful, the ideas behind that are what true value will mean to you. Now here it says too, like every situation, every encounter, everyone that you meet, every situation that you're in is in fact totally helpful, and is all part of this program that you're in. Literally, you have sufficient workspace or playground to work with this. So that is, there's some kind of acceptance that needs to come in, that you see that you can trust that. There's the word trust again. Like all situations are actually helping you to see something, to see what is worthwhile for trust, to see what really matters or what truth is all about. It's like all these situations are helping you, no matter how dramatic they are. They still have that same function. So this is our development of trust. So these are the two stages, but there's more. And that was the period of sorting out. So it's only to the extent, the last sentence, which they are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. Now here, stage 3, the third stage through which the teacher of God must go can be called a period of relinquishment. Now that's something else too. It's like relinquishment, literally the dissolving of things. A period of relinquishment. If this is interpreted as giving up the desirable, it will engender enormous conflict. A few teachers of God escape this distress entirely. So in other words, you're probably going to face this too if you not already did that. So the period of relinquishment and the enormous conflict that it engenders, because you value what you value and you're not going to let go of that, and now you see at the same time the worthlessness of it, or it is temporal. Why would you hold on to something that is temporal? But that's, as an idea, easy to say, but in the practice of the day it can look very different. There is, however, no point in sorting out the valuable from the valueless unless the next obvious step is taken. Therefore, the period overlap is apt to be one in which the teacher of God feels called upon to sacrifice his own best interests on behalf of the truth. He has not yet realized how wholly impossible such a demand would be. He can learn this only as he actually does give up the valueless. Through this he learns that where he anticipated grief, he finds his happy lightheartedness instead. Where he thought something was asked of him, he finds a gift bestowed on him. I know for sure that you recognize this too. It's like it seems to be tough, but if you're asked to do something, like if you're asked to literally let go of something, the outcome of that is totally different than the anticipated grief or the image that you had of letting this go. All the fear that was related to letting go of this is so different. So you actually discover it is a gift to let go of it. And that is really like speeding up your trust, the totality of your trust. So that's so wonderful. So this is the third stage, a period of relinquishment. Now, and this seems like, oh, this is great. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Now comes a period of settling down. This is a quiet time in which the teacher of God rests a while in reasonable peace. I don't know what that is, reasonable peace, but we'll see. Now he consolidates his learning. Now he begins to see the transfer value of what he has learned. He actually discovers the gift that is given him. Its potential is literally staggering, and the teacher of God is now at a point in his progress at which he sees in it his whole way out. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do want. How simple is the obvious, and how easy to do. The teacher of God needs this period of respite. He has not yet come as far as he thinks. Yet when he is ready to go on, he goes with mighty companions beside him. Now he rests a while and gathers them before going on. He will not go on from here alone. Now you see the actual occurrence that is taking place in you now, being here, being present here, is like this period that you're actually entering into. A period of, say, settling in a certain sense, settling, like a moment of respite, just to come to charging up a little bit. Like, now I start to see, like, yeah, this is incredible. I certainly devote myself to this. Absolutely fantastic. Now you recognize that you're not alone in doing this, that you get help, that there's mighty companions around you that are actually supporting you in this process. So all of us here experience that in some kind of way. That's so beautiful to see. That is literally given. You had no idea that it would be this way, but yes, it is. So from here on, you do not go alone. And that is also like a really beautiful confirmation that this is it's like a way you don't walk alone. So you have your support of your brothers. But this is just the beginning at the same time. This is not the finishing thing, it's not like, okay, now we're good. No, this is just a moment to rejuvenate, to get everything sorted out a little bit, to find like, oh yeah, now I'm prepared in a certain sense. So whatever comes, I'm prepared. I'll see what comes my way. Yeah, so the period of settling down, it's a quiet time, and okay, so now here we are in the next phase. But with your mighty companions beside you, so that's great, yeah. The next stage is indeed a period of unsettling. You thought you were there, you were almost close to the finish line, and now this happens. A period of unsettling. Now must the teacher of God understand that he did not really know what was valuable and what was valueless. And all he really learned so far was that he did not want the valueless and that he did want the valuable. Yet his own sorting out was meaningless in teaching him the difference. The idea of sacrifice, so central in his own thought system, had made it impossible for him to judge. He thought he learned willingness, but now he sees that he does not know what the willingness is for. And now he must attain a state which may remain impossible to reach for a long, long time. He must learn to lay all judgment aside and ask only what he really wants in every circumstance. Were not each step in this direction so heavily reinforced, it would be hard indeed. So this you might recognize too. Like the next stage is a period of unsettling. Now here, he must learn to lay aside, like to lay all judgment aside and ask only what he really wants in every circumstance. So the period of unsettling, it's like that's also a good one to look at. So it's like you're going to look at every situation, like you're going to be very conscious of the steps that you take. In other words, you're going to be very conscious. Is it actually helpful? Is it confirming another illusion or a pattern that I'm used to, just repeating the same thing because I'm used to it? Or am I allowing a change in that to occur? Now, and that change that you let occur, you could say that was exactly what we looked at in the manual for teachers, the last, as for the rest. It's like this is exactly what that is. So are you allowing a total change in the circumstances, in the moment that you are present somewhere? Or are you responding still in a way where you think that you have to be socially accepted, or that you do this and do that for reasons that you have been treasuring for a long time? In other words, are you allowing this moment to be completely new all the time, in the recognition that you're not alone here, that everything is given in this moment? Or are you still trying to figure out which part you want to keep and which part you want to let go? So you see, these stages are very clear in a certain sense. Now, the reinforcement of a right choice, you could say, the reinforcement of this as it is being described in the unsettling part, like recognizing that you want only what is valuable, but you don't know what it is, but you let that be shown to you, and literally ask for that in every situation, places you in that. And it's like the response to doing that is an experience of connectedness. So that's heavily reinforced. In other words, you feel completely connected when you start to do this in a new way. You feel connected. You get that confirmation all the time. Then you can trust to go this way. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. You would still already come with your own solution or your own take on it. So this is exactly what's occurring in your development as a teacher of God, like as one who chooses to go for this. Because this is the achievement. Finally, there's a period of achievement. It is here that learning is consolidated. Now, what was seen as merely shadows before becomes solid gains, to be counted on in all quote-unquote emergencies as well as tranquil times. Indeed, the tranquility is their result, the outcome of honest learning, consistency of thought and full transfer. This is the stage of real peace, for here is heaven's state fully reflected. From here, the way to heaven is open and easy. In fact, it is here. Who would go anywhere if peace of mind is already complete? And who would seek to change tranquility for something more desirable? What could be more desirable than this? So here we have that. So here's like, these are the five stages. Yeah, I think it's 5 stages of trust and development of trust in 5 steps. And this is really lovely. So it's good to read it sometimes and forget about it again, because it's like there's no need to be obsessed with your own process. But it's good to read about it and to see like, oh, yeah, I recognize that. And I seem to be going from one stage to the other too, like it's not static at all. Sometimes I feel, oh, now I'm in this tranquil space, but then it doesn't seem to be that way. Something is disrupting it just because that happens, just because there were the situations that I keep bringing myself into and keep repeating. Suddenly there it is again. So I'm disrupted by it. There's a lesson for me to learn. In other words, there's something there that I didn't get. I still value something, or I think I need to respond in a certain way, and that only perpetuates the problem. Now I speak of this, of course, in coarse language. So I didn't give that many say examples of it, but that can come. So it's like the beautiful thing of this is to have an overview of the stages, and so that's why I wanted to share it with you, since we were entering into the manual for teachers and started, say, at the end of it. Now, what was at the end of it, I'm going to bring back just for now to finish our moment together here, because that is very lovely as for the rest. So here it comes. And now, in all your doings, be you blessed. God turns to you for help to save the world. Teacher of God, His thanks He offers you, and all the world stands silent in the grace you bring from Him. You are the Son He loves, and it is given you to be the means through which His voice is heard around the world, to close all things of time, to end the sight of all things visible, and to undo all things that change.